When James pushed open the heavy glass door and stepped in with his mother, Margaret, every eye in the restaurant turned to them. Her hand was soft and shaking in his. She walked slowly and carefully. James held her hand tighter, letting her know he was there. It was a special night. Margaret had just turned 70. After being in the hospital for weeks, she was finally feeling better. James picked this restaurant with care. He wanted her to feel loved. The lights from the chandelier made the room feel warm. The smell of fresh bread filled the air. That night, more than anything, he wanted his mom to know how much she meant to him. She had given up so much for him. When James's father, Robert, left them, Margaret didn't fall apart. She worked very hard, doing everything she could to take care of James. Even when life was hard, she made sure there was food on the table. She made sure he had clothes to wear. She made sure he didn't feel the loss of his father too much. James pulled out a chair for her and helped her sit down. She looked up and smiled. Her hands were shaking a little as she placed them on the table. "Thank you, my son," Margaret said softly. "You don't have to thank me, Mom," James said as he placed his hand gently over hers. The waiter came and gave them menus, but James already knew what his mom liked. He ordered for them both. He chose her favorite dish, something soft and easy for her to chew. As they waited, James saw how weak she had become. The hospital stay had tired her out. But even though her eyes looked tired, they still had that same warmth. That love never went away. When the food came, James helped her with her spoon and fork. Margaret moved slowly, her hands still shaking. She picked up her spoon, but her fingers couldn't keep it steady. A few drops of soup fell on her soft pink blouse. She stopped, and her face changed. She looked embarrassed. Before she could say anything, James took a napkin and gently wiped the soup off. He was careful and soft, just like she had been when he was little and messy from eating. He felt eyes on them from every corner of the restaurant. It seemed like people were judging, but no one said a word. He heard soft whispers spreading through the room. He didn't catch the words, but they didn't sound kind. A young woman at the next table leaned back and wrinkled her nose. James didn't know why, but it made him feel bad. Near the counter, a waiter sighed and rubbed his neck. James noticed it, unsure if it was because of them. Margaret's spoon stopped in the air. She could feel all the eyes. She looked down and moved uncomfortably in her seat. Then she sighed and put down her spoon. "Maybe we should just go. I don't want people looking at you like this, like I'm a burden." James looked at her and remembered something. He was a little boy again, only 7. He had scraped his knee and was crying on the floor. His mom had come over, held him gently, and wiped the cut with a cool cloth. "It's okay, sweetheart," she had said. "Mommy's here." And just like that, the pain was gone. Now she was the one who needed comfort, and James was ready to be there. He put his hand over hers. His grip was warm and steady. "Mom, listen to me," he said. "I don't care what they think. You're my mother. We belong here just like anyone else." He looked around the restaurant. He saw people who had been whispering. He didn't care what they thought. He only cared about the woman in front of him, the woman who gave him everything. Margaret slowly started eating again. Her hands were still shaking. James helped her, cutting her food into smaller pieces and holding her glass while she drank. When they were done eating, James helped his mom up and walked with her to the bathroom. Inside, he wet a paper towel and cleaned the spots on her blouse. "Hold still, Mom," he said gently. Margaret gave him a tired smile. He ran his fingers through her silver hair, fixing it just like she used to fix his hair before school. She touched his wrist. "You don't have to do all this, you know." He looked into the mirror at her and said, "Yes, I do, Mom. I always will." When they came back into the dining room, something felt different in the air. James couldn't explain it, but it wasn't as tense anymore. What James didn't know was that while they were gone, something had happened. A young man had stood up. He had seen everything and felt something inside. He looked around the room, then spoke clearly. "Some of you still have your mothers. Some of you have lost them. If she were your mother, how would you feel? If she sat here and needed help, would you want people laughing at her? Would you want your child to feel shame sitting beside you?" His voice was strong but full of feeling. His words weren't just for the people in the room. They came from his heart. He had lost his own mother and never forgot the lesson she taught him, especially to show love, even when it's hard. "My mother, she's gone now, but she taught me to care for people, especially when they need help. She would have told me to do what that son did, to love, to stay close, and never be ashamed." The restaurant stayed quiet. People who had judged now looked down. Some blinked fast, holding back tears. In that silence, James settled the bill and offered his arm to his mother. He held her steady as he led her toward the door. But just as they reached it, someone called out to them, "Excuse me, sir." James turned. A man was standing a few steps behind them. It was Mr. Anderson, the restaurant manager. "It seems like you left something," Mr. Anderson said. James looked confused. "No, I don't think so." The man smiled kindly. "No, son, you left something behind. A reminder of what love really looks like. The way you care for her. You don't see that every day. It's special." James's eyes softened. He gave a small nod and turned back to his mom. He wrapped his arm around her gently as they walked outside into the cool air. Margaret looked up at him, her weak hand holding him tightly. "Thank you, my son," she said in a quiet voice. James smiled, his eyes shiny with emotion. "No, Mom, thank you." And together they walked away, a mother and her son, full of love, leaving behind a room full of changed hearts. We often think of Mother's Day in terms of bouquets and brunch, but the story of James and Margaret reminds us of the raw, quiet courage that motherhood and being a son or daughter really requires. Motherhood is a long game. It starts with them carrying us, and it often ends with us holding them steady. It is a full circle that requires patience when hands start to shake and grace when memories start to fade. As you prepare for Mother's Day, remember that the most expensive gift in the world can't compete with the simple, steady strength of a hand to hold. Whether your mother is right beside you, miles away, or living on in your heart, may you find a way to honor the reminders of love they left behind. Happy Mother's Day to all the Margarets who gave their all, and to all the Jameses who remember.